I walked into the marble lobby of Grandview Manor and nearly dropped my volunteer badge when I saw him arranging chess pieces in the corner. The man I'd been searching for my entire life was living in luxury while I'd grown up wondering why my father never wanted me. My name is Sarah, and I'd spent 28 years believing my biological father was either dead or didn't care enough to find me. My adoptive parents were amazing, but that hole in my heart never went away. Every birthday, every graduation, every milestone, I wondered about the man whose DNA I carried but whose face I'd never seen. I started volunteering at Grandview Manor 3 months ago. It's one of those high-end retirement communities where rooms cost more per month than most people's salaries. I figured helping elderly residents would give my life meaning while I sorted through my own mess of a divorce. That Tuesday morning changed everything. His name tag read Richard Chin. The same last name my adoption papers listed for my birth father. Same distinctive cleft chin I saw in my mirror every day. Same green eyes that stared back at me from old photos my adoptive parents had saved. My hand shook as I approached his table. "Excuse me, are you Richard Chen from Sacramento?" He looked up with mild annoyance. "Yes, though I haven't lived there in decades." "Do we know each other?" I couldn't breathe. I think you might be my father." The chess piece fell from his fingers. His face went white, then red, then something I can only describe as calculating. "That's impossible," he said quickly. "You must be mistaken." But I saw the recognition in his eyes. The way his jaw tightened. The slight tremor in his voice. I pulled out my phone and showed him a photo I'd carried for years, the only picture I had of my birth parents together. "This is you, isn't it? With my mother, Linda Morrison?" Richard's carefully composed mask cracked for just a second. Long enough for me to see the truth. "I don't know what you're talking about," he lied. "Please leave me alone." That night I couldn't sleep. I researched everything about Richard Chen. What I found made my blood boil. He wasn't just some random resident at an expensive retirement home. He was Richard Chen, former CEO of Chen Industries, worth an estimated $43 million. His Wikipedia page mentioned his devoted family, a wife of 35 years and 2 children who were both successful doctors. The same man who'd abandoned me and my teenage mother was living like a king while I'd grown up on food stamps. I dug deeper. Found news articles about his business success, his charitable donations, his perfect family Christmas cards in the society pages. There he was, playing loving father to the children he'd kept while throwing me away like garbage. The next week, I volunteered for the evening shift just to observe him. Richard Chen lived in the penthouse suite. He had private nursing care, gourmet meals, and daily visits from his precious legitimate children. I watched his son David bring his grandchildren to visit. Watched Richard's face light up as he played with kids who looked just like me at that age. While I'd spent my childhood wondering if my real father was dead in a ditch somewhere, he was building an empire and raising a replacement family. The betrayal cut deeper than any knife. Not just that he'd abandoned me, but that he was capable of being a father. He'd chosen to be a father, just not to me. That's when I decided Richard Chen needed to face the consequences of his choices. I started by befriending his favorite nurse, Patricia. She'd worked with Richard for 2 years and genuinely cared about him. Over coffee, I casually mentioned how sad it was when families lost touch. "Oh, Mr. Chen would never let that happen," Patricia said. "Family is everything to him. He talks about his children constantly." "All of his children?" I asked innocently. "Well, David and Michelle." "Why?" I pulled out my phone. "Because I'm pretty sure I'm his daughter too." Patricia's coffee cup hit the table hard. I showed her the adoption papers, the birth certificate, the photo. Watched her face change as she realized the man she'd respected was capable of abandoning his own child. "This is horrible," she whispered. "He never mentioned you." "Not once." Phase 2 involved Richard's son David. I found him on LinkedIn and sent a carefully crafted message explaining who I was. Included copies of all my documentation. David called me within an hour, voice shaking. Are you absolutely certain? DNA test certain, I replied. Your father chose not to acknowledge me when I approached him directly. The silence stretched between us. Finally, David spoke. This explains so much about his past. The gaps in stories, why he never talks about Sacramento. My God, we have a sister. David confronted his father that weekend. I know because Patricia texted me updates. Richard denied everything at first, then claimed it was a youthful mistake he'd tried to forget. But David wasn't buying it. Neither was Michelle when she learned the truth. The final phase was the most satisfying. David and Michelle arranged a family dinner at the retirement home. They told Richard they were bringing someone special to meet him. That someone was me. I walked into Richard's private dining room wearing my best dress and carrying a folder full of legal documents. Hello, Father, I said, taking the seat directly across from him. Richard's fork clattered onto his plate. His perfect family dinner party suddenly became his worst nightmare. I've spent 28 years wondering about you, I continued calmly. Wondering if you were dead, or sick, or just didn't know about me. Turns out you were just rich and selfish. David and Michelle sat in stunned silence as I laid out everything. The adoption papers. The birth certificate. The DNA test results I'd gotten using hair from Richard's bathroom. All these years you've been playing devoted father while your first daughter grew up thinking she wasn't good enough for you to love. Richard tried to speak, but I wasn't finished. I'm not here for your money. I'm here for your family to know exactly who you really are. A man who abandoned his child because acknowledging me would have complicated his perfect life. I stood up and placed my business card on the table. When you're ready to apologize, really apologize, you can reach me through my adoptive parents. The ones who actually wanted me. As I walked out, I heard David's voice behind me. Dad, how could you? Richard Chen lost more than his secret that day. He lost the respect of his children, the admiration of his caregivers, and his carefully crafted reputation. Patricia requested a transfer to another resident. David and Michelle's visits became rare and tense. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's simply making someone face the truth about who they really are. I finally got the acknowledgement I'd craved my whole life, just not the way I'd imagined. And Richard learned that running from your past only works until it catches up with you. Have you experienced something like this? Tell me in the comments.